Welcome to In It to Win It. This is Steve Barton, and thank you for tuning in. I am here with Nick Tartaglia from New Gen Mindset. Nick, thank you for coming on the show.
Of course, no problem.
Yes. Okay, so give everyone kind of a, you specialize in studying economics, correct?
So that's what I'm trying to specialize in. So basically the story starts off with, about 2.5 years ago, me and my partner for our podcast, New Gen Mindset, we started the podcast with the intent to have conversations with everybody that had to do with sovereignty and wealth.
Okay.
Hence the slogan becomes everything and anything, wealth and sovereignty. So the premise is just we want to indulge whether it's economists, traders, market psychologists, CEOs, entrepreneurs, miners, geologists. If there's a way to go down a rabbit hole in those subjects, we will go down that rabbit hole. So I started doing that, and then I started getting heavily into economics.
Okay.
Just because I wanted to understand more of the macro realm of market mechanics. So once I started doing that, I started studying more economic principles, and I went down the rabbit hole learning Keynesian economics, Austrian economics. I started studying things like Milton Friedman, Thomas Sowell, Friedrich von Hayek, Thomas Ludwig von Mises, Friedrich Bastiat, Rousseau, and all these incredible people. And then I started realizing that if you really understand market forces from an observable standpoint, you have to understand the way they behave. And that's where you start going down the principles of Austrian economics. And I wanted to focus a little more on the Austrian school. And because I enjoyed it so much, and I have more of an analytical mind, I like dissecting things, I wanted to continue their work and find a way to better establish the parameters by which you can understand economic truths of nature and think of it as a game. So if I were to step onto a board game, how would I define my actions and how would I think about going about my behaviors to optimize my outcome in life?
Okay, maybe we can take a step back for a sec. Give our listeners the basics of what is Austrian economics and what is Keynesian economics.
So the premise, the basic you can think of this is Austrian economics is grounded in natural truths of economic reality. There are truths. It's not about ideologies, it's not about what we think, it's just about what has nature and history taught us through cycles and human history. So you're focusing on natural truths and objective truths. You're not trying to focus on ideologies. You're not trying to defy nature by saying, let's say, when someone says, oh, we're going to give you this for free. Well, already they've lied to you because nothing is free. There's always a cost.
That would be Keynesian.
So that would be the Keynesian side where then you're playing the political game. So the premise of Keynesian is that the central authority or the central state has the right to subsidize the market to artificially create growth, to get away from recessions or depressions.
Yeah.
But the issue is when you do that, it's like an infant. You kind of delegate or take away the responsibility of the individual to learn and adapt and grow. So what happens is you constantly create booms and bust cycles, and that's why you always have things like, for example, QE. You always have low interest rates because you have to keep artificially finding a new way to manipulate the market to move in an upward direction when it wants to go down because it has never learned.
Yeah.
So you can't. The market economy can't consciously grow.
Yeah.
So you have to think of it like a psychology, as a collective or whether you're an individual. So Keynesians delegates the responsibility to the state, and it's as if the state is the driver and it pressing the buttons. Oh, you got to go do this, you got to do that, and you go down a deeper and deeper and deeper rabbit hole, and that's what it gets you to things like modern day.
Modern monetary theory?
Yeah, exactly. So
yes,
that's like taking
monetary
Keynesian.
theory.
That's like taking Keynesian on steroids.
Yeah.
So you're going down this rabbit hole where you assume that the state can do whatever you want with the economy because it bestows the economy upon us. But if you're going to natural truths, or let's say you go into Christianity or religion, it's that the economy is bestowed to all man equally because we are born into a reality. It's not given to us by any man. So the Austrians focus on that premise. And a lot of the West, from the Constitution to everything, was built on the same principles of the Austrian school is built off of, which is individual liberty and property rights.
Now let's say if we take a step back 100 years ago in the American monetary system, when the dollar was backed by gold, that would be Austrian economics.
You wouldn't necessarily call it Austrian because throughout most of human history it was always kind of backed by monetary metals. It was just because we had no other form of money.
Yeah.
So it was always, but throughout history you'll always find ways that they try to deviate. They would start mixing metals together to try to make it way less. They would clip coins.
Yeah.
They would take that and create more. So in a way they would inflate the currency away the same way you would do it in a Keynesian system. It's just that they found other ways to get around it. We're just trying to say is you gotta ground an economic system to some truth that creates a commonality between everyone, that regardless of what we do, we know that this is a truth.
Yeah.
And you can't deviate from it, you can't manipulate it, you can't hide it. It's just an objective truth that we all know is a commonality point.
Okay.
So it creates kind of a more of a balanced ecosystem. Because think of it this way, right? If I cannot properly project or forecast or create a predictable prediction in my outcome, it's very hard to plan your future.
Yeah.
So inflation makes it impossible to plan because you don't know if it's 5%, 10%, 20%.
Yeah.
I don't know how to project my cost basis or any of those things. So by grounding you into truths, you're basically saying, let me eliminate all those external chaotic variables, and even though it might be slow at the beginning, sustainably from a long-term standpoint and from a generational standpoint and from a cultural standpoint, you are benefiting the culture because you're allowing each generation to have its place within a system that's fair and just, and not playing political games, trying to benefit specific special interests or specific ideologies. It's getting out of that. And the premise is separate the state from the economy. Okay. Just let nature do its thing, and awesome. We need to learn from nature.
I am really looking forward to when you and I get back home and we can continue this discussion a little bit longer and really dive in.
I'll send you my book too.
Yes, I would love it. Awesome. I would love it. And thank you for watching. We will talk to you next time.